Recapped here. Today I'm going to show you an American science fiction romantic black comedy film called Spontaneous. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Mara Carlisle is a senior in a small suburban town. Mara is seen in a pre-calculus class, bored out of her mind. Her pencil drops to the floor, and while she reaches for it, the girl sitting in front of her explodes. Blood splatters everywhere and chaos ensues. As the student runs out of the building, Tess finds Mara and asks her what happened. She can't believe it, but she sees Mara's shoes. According to Mara, the only thing damaged in the explosion was the girl. Every other thing was aesthetics. The students are taken into police custody and forensics try to gather samples to run tests. They are given new clothes at the station and allied to shower. Dylan makes an offbeat comment about how the whole thing looked like a Cronenberg movie, but only Mara laughs. The rest talk about their theories on why the thing happened when one of the girls asks when they'll let them go. Mara says that would happen when they can be sure the thing doesn't repeat itself again. Mara's parents pick her up from the station and take her home. When she arrives, she goes to her room and smokes pot. She gets a text from an unknown number telling her that they have a crush on her. Mara starts getting texts from a classmate named Dylan. He hasn't witnessed any of the combustion like Mara, and he asks her if it's invigorating. She knows it's horrible to feel energized by these killings, but she admits it is. Following Caitlin's funeral service, Mara gets high on mushrooms purchased from school dealers and goes for tea with her best friend Tess. Fellow student Dylan approaches the pair and reveals himself to be the unknown texted with a said crush on Mara. Dylan explains how he had begun thinking of life and how quickly it could end, and upon hearing Mara's suggestion of the incident repeating itself, realized that he needed to take action. She and Dylan begin dating, even though she's heard rumors about him burning down a building and fathering the triplets of a former classmate. Later, the two meet in a library and she asks him how he has a crush on her. He tells her that it started from the very first day he met her and everything grew from there. The day the other girl exploded and Mara said it could happen to any of them made him decide to come forward with his feelings and stop waiting for the right moment. As the two begin seeing one another, they attend a school football game and a house party, although each is cut short when a jock and drink server explodes, respectively, sending the attendees into a panic. Classes are canceled for the time being, and students begin to dub the explosions as the Covington Curse. In the following days, as school administrators scramble to provide counseling and answers, more seniors explode. News crews, bloggers, and doomsday fanatics from across the nation begin lining the streets and requesting interviews. The world watches and speculates via the internet. What were the common denominators between the dead seniors? Were they all using drugs? Were they all gay? As more kids explode, each theory falls apart. Seniors of varying ethnicities, genders, and sexual orientations continue to combust every few days. The incidents attract the attention of numerous government agencies who place FBI agent Carla Rossetti on the case. She enlists Mara and Tess as aid. Mara tries to process these deaths with her best friend Tess. Unlike Mara, who often partakes of drugs and alcohol, Tess is studious and drug-free. Mara has theories about evolutionary cell mutations she believes may account for the combustion. Government agencies begin arriving to investigate. While investigating the possible involvement of drugs, Mara goes for a drive with the school dealers, the Dalton twins. The pair explode and the car crashes. Dylan arrives and consoles a dazed Mara before federal agents arrive in protective suits and detain the pair. The entire senior class is placed under quarantine while the government devises a snooze button pill to cure the students, during which multiple students explode. Realizing that they can begin living like every day might be their last, Mara and Dylan continue seeing each other and pursue a hedonistic lifestyle. They have sex and dance to 80s music in an old barn. Agent Rossetti's conspiracy theories become stranger and more paranoid. She tells the girls about implanted tracking devices and cover-ups, and Rossetti inadvertently admits to Mara that the explosions may not yet be over. She's eventually taken off the case, but she still hangs around to investigate. Townspeople fear and snub the kids. The seniors' parents allow them to slip into drug and alcohol-induced hazes because no one knows how much time they have left. Cutesy banter eventually leads to the two becoming inextricably closer despite a growing investigation by the FBI, and eventually a plastic bubble quarantine with their classmates. Between being monitored by agents and seeing their friends continuously explode around them, Dylan declares to Mara that he loves her, but that confession and their bond matter little in the ways of whatever is causing the spontaneous explosions. After the surviving students are released from quarantine, their classmates once again begin exploding. Mara and the other bored seniors lobby to reopen the school so they can graduate. 4 adults agree to teach classes like yoga and the Bible. Mara finds the Bible somewhat fascinating. Mara likens herself to Noah because she got the school started up again and is helping carry her fellow students to safety. She later realizes Mrs. Dodd sees the kids as sodomites and is just there to make sure every last one of them burns. Mara says she'd like to believe at least some Old Testament stories are true because they always feature survivors. She says God is full of wrath, but the human race goes on. One teacher says Descartes believed that if you imagine a perfect God, then one must exist. Then the kids discover their teacher, who came to town with a group of religious fanatics, is just sticking around to watch the evil children burn. With every death, the student body copes by sinking further into hedonism. Kids openly drink, have sex, and use drugs. While demonstrating the supposed effectiveness of the pill at a school seminar, a student explodes, triggering a chain reaction of explosions in the classroom. Dozens of students explode during the ensuing rampage, whereas Mara and Dylan are separated by the mob in a struggle to escape the building. Mara exits through a side entrance with ease and reunites with Dylan, who proclaims his love for her before unexpectedly exploding, injuring Mara in the process, and this time the death hits a little too close to home. The loss of Mara's first love, with no explanation about what is happening or why it's happening to them, becomes too much for the young teen girl to bear. Her once bright, apocalyptic romance is now an emotional cocktail of spiraling grief, substance abuse, and trauma as she withdraws from school, cuts off her parents and best friend, and obsesses about her own death, in light of Dylan's unimaginable and inexplicable one. Mara also reads student comments online speculating that she might be the Covington curse, as she was present at the scene of each occurring explosion. She appears to be at a point of no return until she's seen at her class prom, which is doubling as a graduation, and finally confronts the core sense of her mental and emotional anguish. While accepting her diploma, she tells her classmates that the deaths are her fault and opens the door for her and her classmates to fully acknowledge the survivor's grief and the many ways they've been all trying to survive, not just from an unnamed threat, but their own emotional baggage. At the combined graduation prom ceremony, Mara reconciles with Tess, reveals that she is leaving town for a beach house that night, and invites her to come. Believing herself to be the curse, Mara casually apologizes to the attendees for causing the explosions, but others chime in, claiming responsibility for circumstantial personal problems. Leaving the event, Mara visits Dylan's grave and has a heart-to-heart conversation with his mother, who convinces her to move on with her life. While it would be nice to have an explanation for what her classmates caught and why Dylan died, Dylan's mom says that there aren't always answers for the horrible things that happen in life. Sometimes bad things happen, and in the face of them, we have to figure out how to keep going. Even when you're left feeling like you'll never be okay again, you figure out how to be one slow step at a time. Mara apologizes to her parents and sobers up. After the rampage, the next snooze button pill seems to be effective and the explosions stop anticlimactically, leaving 31 students in the senior class dead. Covington High is closed by the authorities and scheduled for demolition. Mara gains possession of Dylan's milk van and, with her parents' blessing, moves into the beach house with Tess, as they had intended to do since childhood. Mara says goodbye to Rossetti. She continues taking the snooze button and goes on with her life. The film ends with Mara telling the viewers to enjoy life while it lasts, as, "What the fuck else can you do?" While Mara's final monologue is a little too on the nose, she still summarizes this idea quite nicely. Spontaneous encourages its audience to live every day as if it could literally spontaneously combust at any moment. Living with no wasted time opens up a world of possibilities, just as Mara sees for herself at the end of Spontaneous. While still never forgetting Dylan, Mara moves on and imagines what she's going to do with her life, from new boyfriends to becoming the President of the United States. At the end of the day, bad stuff is going to happen, and that's inevitable. Mara imagines a future where she grows old together with Tess in the beach house they wanted. She won't be afraid anymore because she could die any second, as so could you.